So hey guys, yeah, welcome to webinar number 5. It's Avi from Koii. Yeah, we're going to be going over the Easy Sandbox today, mostly because I've been getting a lot of feedback from some users about how the early stages of Easy Sandbox are a little hard to get through, especially for new Web 2 devs. Some things don't necessarily make sense right off the bat, and I kind of want to alleviate that problem. So I'm going to turn off my video and we're going to start sharing my screen in just a second here. And here we go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So good morning, everyone. So and how do you get to the Koii Easy Sandbox? It's pretty easy. Go to koii.network. We have a Learn Easy Sandbox button and then click Start Your Lesson. It'll take you to another page in our GitHub. Some exciting news is that we have a project in the pipeline that's basically going to give you a much more interactive experience to get through our tutorials. So there's some exciting news that I'll be dropping pretty soon. Stay tuned. But for now, the Easy Sandbox is what we have, and it's what we're going to go through. So the Easy Sandbox is basically 7, I think 8, yeah, lesson 8 is actually a placeholder right now. It's 7 lessons that basically get you, picked up and running with Koii, explains everything that's going on with Koii. As always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will get to them as quickly as I can. Just drop them in chat, or you can unmute your mic. Either's good. And if anybody here has had any particular issues with the Easy Sandbox, and that's why you're here, let me know. I'll give you first-hand advice. We can open up the task template and we can basically get you going. Or actually, you want to know what? I'll clone this right now, or we'll clone it together. Yeah, let's do that first. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up a new window of VS Code. In case anybody's following along, what we want to do is click this green code button and then click copy URL to clipboard. We're gonna want to open a folder. I'm just gonna find a folder to put this in. Let's call this folder webinar number 5. And so we're just gonna open this folder up in VS Code. Great. Yes, I trust the authors. And we are going to clone it. So we're going to open up our console in VS Code. That's Control Shift and then the grave or the tilde key. And what you want to do is in your terminal here, we're just going to type in git clone, and then we're going to paste the link. And I'll just expand that, and I'll copy this. And I'll put it right in to the chat in case anybody's following along. You can just hit git clone. That will clone the entire Easy Sandbox into a folder right here. And if you really want, yeah, you can CD into it. And we'll probably do that in just a sec. But for now, let's go back to the Easy Sandbox and let's go through the lessons. So, boom, lesson 1. You can start right here. Now, you can, of course, use the file structure on the left-hand side to quickly navigate through all of the Easy Sandbox content. And of course, if you want to look at any of the images too, we have them all hosted here. Gradual consensus, how does that work? I want to look at an example of where my public key is. It's all there. But for now, we're going to start with lesson 1, the introduction. All right. Yes, I guess there's a quick tip. Anybody following along, if you just want a quick 2-minute rundown of what to do, you can do it all here. It's a yarn tutorial. It's like literally 2 minutes, and it'll have you really moving and shaking with a powerful template. But in general, or with a running task actually, that'll actually have your task running. Yeah, you'll have a working task. But if you want to learn what's going on under the hood, then I definitely suggest you stick along. So yeah, part 1, running a task. Why Koii? What is Koii? So the first layer 1 dedicated to merging AI and DePIN ecosystem development. So what does that mean? So Koii is actually our own chain. We're a fork of Solana, and we have our own blockchain. It's called the K2 blockchain. And it is a fork of Solana that is basically customized to be more useful and applicable for app development. And so, and also, hosting, training, um, fine tuning, ragging, anything you could want with AI. So when we made Koii, when we set out to do is basically create an app ecosystem that's a Web3 decentralized compute network, basically a cloud computer that's running off everybody's home devices. We wanted to make it basically the cheapest, most cost-effective competitor to companies like Amazon Web Service, while being Web 2 friendly and also giving folks the ability to put AI on the network. It's a big thing, right now. So we wanted to include that too. But more importantly to me, it's DePIN. It's a decentralized physical infrastructure network. And really the great power of that is that we're building a community that of node operators, and the community really gets to set the prices. The community gets to vote on what is good for the market and what isn't, what kind of apps live and die. It's a really exciting ecosystem. We have intuitive tools for building DePIN apps. So if you want to have AI inference, we say bandwidth. I guess I don't know if that's a tool for building, but rather we have it as a resource for building, and then data scraping, etc. Tens of thousands. We have 90,000 right now. Devices, best in class unit economics. That's absolutely true. Let's go to Coin Network. We're going to go to the dashboard up here. And we can see today we're at 90,423 nodes. So that's pretty cool. Our K1 blockchain, it can handle 48 transactions per second. That's pretty fast. A robust Web3 infra for projects. Yeah. What do we mean by that? It's a Web3 infrastructure for projects. We're basically giving you all of the building blocks that you need on the back end. So all you need to do is focus on building your app and just setting it up, connecting it in, and you're good to go. We also support existing altcoins in addition to our own coin, Koii. And if you want to make your own coin on Koii, you can use our KPL library or our KP library to make your own altcoins and stablecoins. So what is a Koii task? A Koii task is a decentralized computing job that runs our network of nodes. What does that mean? So we have a bunch of computers across the world. That's our network of nodes. It's a desktop app that you know and love. You open that up, you're running it. The Koii task is basically a decentralized computing job. So when you upload the Koii task, we send a ping out to all of these desktop nodes that they can, hey, run this task. If they choose to do that, they'll download the task, they'll run the task, and it'll use their compute power to run your application, your backend. And that's the real power of Koii. So we have, compute, networking, processing, uh, like anything you can name, that's on a standard, consumer grade computer, you'll be able to take advantage of. There are a few things like if you want to guarantee high grade GPUs for your process, maybe if you're doing like hardcore training, that you'll want to use one of our partner services like Exhibits. Koii just announced a partner with Exhibits to get basically premium grade to commercial grade GPUs. So that's 4080s, 4090s, all the way to like the H100s, probably above. Yeah, so we even have partners like that that'll support you to basically get from A to Z wherever you need to go, um, so that you can build your app and your business out on Koii. So installing the node. If you don't know what the node is, which I think everybody here does, but just in case you don't know, that we have something called the desktop node, and that desktop node is where it's that network of nodes I was talking about, basically where you can participate in the decentralized economy and you can claim rewards for letting your computer run. Um, and over time you'll get some Koii. We'll be launching our main net pretty soon, and that's a pretty big exciting one. So when that comes out, then hopefully there'll be a vesting strategy for you to convert your testnet tokens into into mainnet tokens, and there'll be some special incentives for people who have been running the nodes faithfully for a long time. So if you're one of those people, stay tuned. Check your emails. Make sure you don't miss our special events. In order to run a task, you're going to need a few tokens, so you can definitely get those from the faucet. Koii faucet, or it's faucet, sorry, faucet.koii.network. You can connect to Finny. Finny is our wallet. If you don't know what Finny is, well, I'm going to assume you're on Chrome. If you go to Chrome, Finny, right on the Chrome Web Store, you can find Finny by the Koii network. Make sure it's by Koii.network, and it'll basically give you your Koii wallet. And that is what you can use to, you can actually connect it to your desktop wallet if you happen to make your desktop wallet first. And that will allow you to walk around on the internet with the wallet, assuming you're on Chrome. Yeah, so connect Finny, get your free Koii, and start running some tasks. Start collecting some Koii. You can use that to eventually launch your own tasks. There are some gas fees to launching your own tasks, but not too high. Honestly, you could run a task node for maybe like a week, and you'll definitely have enough. And then also, the more powerful your computer, it's possible to get more nodes, more Koii. Sorry. Okay, so if you want to view the task log of a specific node, it's just something worthwhile to go over. In the desktop node, you can click these three little breadcrumbs, or it's actually these three breadcrumbs, and you can click Open Output Logs. So that will basically give you this task log file. It'll let you read the logs that were dumped out from the task. It's a really great tool for testing. It's just good to mention that it's available, that it's there. Yeah, you can read through the specifics of log updates. And I'm on Windows here, so if you're on Mac or Linux, you might need to go through these instructions to get real-time log updates. But if you're on Windows, all you actually need to do is punch this command into PowerShell, and you're good to go. Okay. Are there any questions so far? No? Okay, cool. So I just want to let people know that based off the pace we're going at, it's probably going to be likely that we're going to be doing a multiple part series on the EZSandbox. So it's great to if you want to start following along now, and you know as we go through the webinar series, I'll be able to guide you guys and really help you build that task if that sounds interesting to you. So let's talk about debugging a task. So the first one is you want to have Node, and the second one is you might want to have all the prerequisites from part one complete. So you can use NPM, and I will be honest, that's what I tend to use myself. We recommend Yarn, and it uses all of the EZSandbox instructions, and using Yarn is pretty simple. So you're just going to NPM install global Yarn, and yeah, you'll have Yarn. We'll start moving forward. I'm pretty sure I already have Yarn installed, but we can try this. I might have been wise enough to remove it. Let's see. Let's npm install global Yarn. Almost positive I have this. Oh, changed one package in 3 seconds, so something probably happened. Maybe an update, or I just overwrote it. Anyway, now you have Yarn, and you have it in a global. You have it available globally. Okay, so debugging your first task. So I guess yeah, let's just follow these steps and go through debugging our first task. So we're going to be opening up lesson 1, and we're going to be going to our easy testing task. So we're going to want to CD to that. So we're going to CD into EZSandbox. We're going to CD into lesson 1, and we're going to CD, into the easy testing task. So what I just did was CD space, and then I did the tab button, and the tab button automatically populates and looks through the file folder structure, and that's how I was able to chain this little command here. Now, I know that's pretty small. I'm actually going to try and zoom in here. That's a lot. Ooh. Yeah, we'll make this work. Okay, so here's the command, just to show you again. And I'll paste that there for anybody following along. Great. So once we're in there, we're going to copy the env example file, the env example file, and rename it to .env. And it's already been, set up with the environment variables you need. Now you can do this with, the command line tools, but you don't have to. You can just, if you're in VS Code, you can copy and paste, and now you'll have this nice copy. You can press F2, and what you can do is you can get rid of this example. You can get rid of everything else. You just want it to be .env, and now we can run yarn. And I'll just give that 1 second. That looks like it's done. Great. So that basically installed all the necessary, configurations and modules and stuff. So now we can run yarn prod debug, and boom, we'll be in the live debugger. There we go. NodeMon is running, and we still have some work to do. So the app is going to start crashing, but we can see that it's working, and it built the Webpack, and it's moving forward. So that's good. So I'm just showing you sort of step by step what this will look like. But we'll be sure to go through each part of the lesson and sort of start from scratch from each lesson. So I'm just showing you what the debugging looks like. You can look at the debugging logs. So let's open up this task folder here. Let's go over to, what's it asking us to do? We can start hacking through some files. Let's see the task flow in action. All right, this is good. So a task we can make this big. A task in Koii basically runs in 3 steps. We're going to go through them pretty briefly here, and then we'll kind of go back to a visual of it, and then we'll come back to the code. So what it looks like is there's this submission class, and here's the task. Here's your hello world being run within the task. This is an example. In concept, you probably want to, import or require your other packages, and maybe you build your own, or maybe you want to just import some files. That's all good. Whatever you do, you can then just put some functions in here, and if we get something out, right, in this context, we'll return value. Otherwise, we're going to say error in executing task. So your whole task is actually probably going to live right between this try statement. And you can basically, anything that I have highlighted here is, well, maybe you want to keep the console log. So it's pretty useful, I'll say, for your logs. But anything I've highlighted here is, you can change. I would keep the if, statement, because what that namespace wrapper store setting is doing is basically storing a value to the local DB, which will get passed to the submission. But in concept, like, you can change the value, you can change hello world, you can put your own logic in, and you can return whatever you'd like. But I'd keep the structure. So then it's going to submit the task, which is basically going to submit the task to the chain, and it's going to fetch the submission, check the submission, update the round, and it's going to do some pretty boilerplate stuff here. And you can see what fetch submission actually does here. Like when you're fetching submission, oh, actually you should fetch submission, you should update that to make sure that you're getting the actual value that you've stored in the task, right? Let's look at audit. So Koii tasks, after you've done the work, you're actually going to be audited by a bunch of other nodes on the network. So how that looks is up to you, though, as a developer. What does that audit look like? That's up to you. So we have here our auditing for our hello world. Here's what it's going to do. It's going to try if the submission value is hello world. Hey, Lucky Star, welcome to the webinar. So yeah, it's going to try submission value is hello world. In my opinion, there should be an extra equals there, but I'll leave that one to you. It's going to vote true. Else, it's going to vote false, right? It's going to catch an error. It's going to vote false inherently. And then we're going to return a vote. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Okay, let's look at distribution. Distribution is essentially how the network will reward everyone. Um, so after everybody's been audited, for everybody that got voted true on, if your node got voted true by everyone who audited you, then you'll be passed on to this distribution round. So once we're in the distribution round, it's basically where you get to choose how people are going to be rewarded. So a distribution list is that list that was generated from the audit, where everybody got to vote on, are you a good actor on the network or are you a bad actor on the network? There's a decider, as it's called, where it's going to upload the distribution list, right? Um, and then there's going to be a response. Audit distributions here, generate distribution list here. So this is how it actually generates that distribution list and it validates here. So we're not going to dive too deeply into the code. I know there's a lot going on. Hope I didn't just overwhelm you. Here's the nice index function that module exports everything, makes everything very nice. This is sort of where everything gets indexed into. But yeah, I hope I didn't overwhelm you because we'll be going through everything just over the course of this series. But I wanted to give you a good overview of what the code looks like. So let's jump back here to the EZSandbox. Oh, there is universal plug and play, but we're going to talk about that later in this series. Okay, so how does a Koii test work? So this is that graphic that I wanted to show everybody. Maybe we'll zoom out for a second. We'll zoom in just a sec. So it's a round-based system. So round one, you do the work. Round two, you review and audit the work. And round three, you distribute the work, distribute rewards. Sorry. So, and this is all going concurrently. Round one starts, and then in round two, there's still nodes who are doing the work. It's getting passed forward, if that makes sense. So it's a cascading mechanism. Even when in the step three, in round three, when one node is distributing rewards, every other node is still going to be doing the work. So it passes forward. But to simplify the round-based system, we're going to look at it as 1, 2, 3. So here we have the round time. Okay, this is the off-chain work. This is the computer actually doing the work that you asked it to. Let's say, for example, you wanted to get some pricing data off, let's say eBay, because we want to, oh geez, let's say we want to track the price of inflation by looking at eBay. We have a company that's doing something very similar with Kayak, but we'll say eBay for our example. So you're looking at prices on eBay, you're recording a bunch of stuff, you're submitting it as a review and audit thing, right? You want to have a community looking at that to build trust about your data. Maybe you want to release an API or something on the data findings that you have. So now we can review and audit the work. So we're going to submit the proofs before the end of that submission window. There's a submission window, and before it, we'll submit proofs, and then we'll review the proofs before the end of the audit. So what does that really look like? Well, we have this little submission window here. It's the green bar. Then we have our audit window, which is the orange bar. And then we have this delay. Then, and that's just to keep the round time consistent. After that delay, because remember that, sorry, let me go take one step back. And then we have a delay because the round times all need to be consistent because each round there's actually nodes doing the work. So all rounds need to be long enough to do the work. So auditing is often offloaded onto like as part of doing the work. So you'll do the work and audit actually at the same time, and thus this is what the delay happens. But in general, nodes can have sync node data. All on-chain data can be verified or audited. And you can move forward to the distribution phase, which looks very, very similar, except we have rewards distributed and a new numerical head. Yeah, it gets confirmed on the chain. Cool. K2 uses proof of history, allowing specific time periods for each phrase. So we have round time, which is the number of slots, the mission window, which is the slots, and we have audit windows, and we have a slot time, which is about 4,000 milliseconds per slot. Cool. Let us continue. Okay, doing the work. Right, submission.task. The task is simply saving the string hello world to the local database. That's what we just saw. Submitting proofs. Submission, fetch submission, and send task, right? In this case, we're fetching the string from a local database that we saved to, and we're submitting it. And then we're validating the node. Here we're verifying whether the submission in the is the string hello world. And then we're distributing. Inside distribution, generate distribution list. Rewards are distributed to each node that complete the work. Here we're penalizing incorrect submissions by removing 70% of their stake and equally distributing that bounty per round to all successful submissions. So let's take another peek at that. Okay, so submission task. So we're going to go to submission.js and we're going to look at .task and we're going to see that we're saving hello world to the local database. Right, so as you see, we have const value equals hello world. If value, just so that we're certain that the work was done correctly. We're hoping that hello world passes, but in your case, maybe there's something that doesn't happen. We're going to store the set, right? The value is value. Boom. Now it's a file that we have NEDB, which is a file-based DB system that the nodes run. So you're basically just saving key values pairs. So we have a key, which is value, and value, which is value. And then we're just optionally returning your task. Depends on how you have your task structure, to be honest. But for most simple use cases, you don't actually need to return anything. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to look at submission.fetch submission and submission.send task, where we're fetching the string from the local database and submitting it. Oopsies. Okay. So fetch submission is what we're looking at first. Yeah, we're fetching the string from the local database. So in fetch submission, we're saying const value equals, oh wait, namespace wrapper store get instead of set, we're getting this time, and we're getting the key value, which will just return that value, right? And we're going to return. We're going to return that. Oops, sorry. And then we're going to look at submission.send task. It's actually submit task. I was going to say, where's send task? It's submit task. Submission equals fetch submission from this round. Check submission from update. Is that what we're looking at? Submission.send task? Yeah, we are looking at submit task. Sorry, that's a little typo in our EZSandbox. Yeah, okay, audit, validate node. Here we're verifying whether the submission string is hello world. So let's go to audit, let's go to validate node. We're saying try if submission value equals hello world, then vote true. Awesome. And inside distribution.generate distribution list, we're rewarding the distributed node that completed the work. Here we're going to penalize submissions by removing 70% of their stake. So let's go to distribute, generate distribution list. So we're in distribution, generate distribution list. And we'll say right here, boom, slash 70% of the stake. Candidate stake times 0.7. Great. All right, let's take a peek at the next and final step. Okay. So in order to deploy a task, you're going to have to download that desktop and run at least one task. It'll make you a staking wallet. It'll be usable for the interplanetary file system, which is our decentralized file system. Yeah, if you have followed the EZSandbox tutorial to this point, you'll already have a staking wallet. Now, I'm not gonna go through all of these steps with you, but I'll go through most of them. So, environment variables. To get the variables into your task, we're going to go to the config YML in the requirements tag section, and you can start setting up requirement tags. So you might have seen in other tasks, there's something like, oh, shoot. It says, oh, Twitter username, Twitter password, and you select an item and you put that in. Well, if you want to do that with your own task, all you have to do is, we're going to open up VS Code here. So all you have to do here is open up VS Code, go to config task YML. You'll actually notice there's a lot of really cool things here. You can change your task name to like cool task. The author can be Abby. The description can be this is a cool task. You can put a repo if you'd like. We're just gonna, note to the task template. We could actually change this to the EZSandbox. Let's do that. Take EZSandbox, put that there. Nice. And image URL, we don't have an image URL. So let's just keep that as the default, which I would imagine is in one of, is it here? This fetches a default URL image. I know that much. And it's probably stored somewhere here, or it might be stored within your desktop node. But yeah, this is the default. So we'll use the default. Task executable network, IPFS. This is the default value. If you want to look into Arweave and development, you can explore the docs if you'd like, but let's leave that default. Same with this. So we have round time. And remember that everything's measured in slots. And then we have the audit window, the mission window. So if you want to make those, if you want to adjust the time here, you certainly can. Some people have, beefier audits. You have to do a lot more during an audit, so you want to keep the time a bit longer. For example, or perhaps you have, you want to have a submission window be shorter because you don't want the ability for someone to spam a submission. I've made a mistake. Oh, I missed some questions. Oh my gosh. When will inflation task be fixed? Sorry, I missed some questions and I'm going to go to that. When will the inflation task be fixed? The inflation task must be the true inflation task. It's running for me. It was just updated a few days ago. Seems to be running fine for me. I don't know if they're still giving out bounty right now. Because yeah, as you can see, I haven't gotten any bounty. But I also haven't been running the node on this computer for very long. So yeah, I'm not sure. I just got an error now, but let's see what that is. Something's wrong for running the task again. Maybe we found something. Interesting. Okay. Well, this actually just failed for me in front of my eyes. So not generating any rewards since task update. Interesting. Okay. Well, I will look into that Trueflation task. We have a lot of we have some people on the Trueflation team who are currently like doing updates to the task and trying to change some things. So I'm guessing something stopped working. I'll look into that for you. And then we have another question. Can you tell me when the webinar finished, I want to watch the recording again. How can I do that? We are going to create a yeah. Thank you, Kelly. We're going to be uploading it to our YouTube channel and we'll also hang out in the Discord. Is this for beginners, Paul G? Yeah, it absolutely is for beginners. this whole tutorial series is going to be for people who've never used Koii before, and we're going to go through all of the hurdles. We're going to be going through the EZSandbox probably over the next few weeks of webinars, and we'll be taking things really slow. At each lesson, we're going to start from scratch, so don't worry if you missed anything. We're almost at the end of lesson one here. Um, and yeah, so if you want to start building your task now, if you want to watch the video later and start building it out as we're going through this video, um, that'd be a great time to start doing it because next week we'll be going into lesson two, and I'll be here to answer any questions that you had during the your initial development and time of the sandbox, or if you want to start making a task, uh, you can go to that task template that we saw earlier. You want to make money with Koii as a node. Yeah. If you want to make money, well, if you want to generate Koii at the very least, right now we are in testnet, so our token isn't actually quite live, but we will be converting it once mainnet launches. Mainnet will be launching at the end of September, I believe. I'll look into. I mean, we'll be making announcements on Discord and stuff with a specific date because it'll also be our token generation event. But in general, you go to Koii.network, you click get the node, you click download the node. And now mine looks pretty messy, but you'll get basically you'll be asked to build a wallet, and then you will get to this desktop node. You'll be able to click this add task button here, and you'll be able to select the tasks you want to run. Make sure to open them and read the descriptions. They might have extensions, so you'll have to put in some data here. The data is all secure and it never leaves your computer, so you don't have to worry too much about storing a password and stuff. We are working on deeper level file encryptions just to make people feel a bit more secure and safe. But in general, it's all stored locally. So unless someone's, probing your computer, like there's a Trojan or something, if you have a compromised computer, no one's going to get access to your stuff. Then yeah, all you have to do is click play on one of these tasks. Mine aren't really working right now, just because I do a lot of testing with my node. But in general, you can just click the play button here and boom, it'll start running. You'll need to build some reputation on the network, so you won't get rewards immediately, but after you've built some reputation, then they'll start coming through. Paul G also wants to ask, I don't have to do any coding? No, not to do the desktop node at all. There's no coding for the desktop node. The only coding is if you actually want to make your own task, so you can like build a business on Koii. Like if you're a developer and you have a lot of cloud, or if you're a business owner and you pay Amazon Web Services a lot of money, then Koii is a really good choice. Like because we charge about 95% less, at least right now. And if you get in early, we'll give you special benefits and bonuses to your pricing models. Right now, again, we're in. So, Paul G asks, can I get paid via PayPal? Right now, we're not in our main net. We're still in our test network. So, what that means is we haven't launched the token officially. We just have our test network token. Once we launch our token officially, that token generation event, we'll list Koii on a series of exchanges. We're still talking with a bunch of exchanges, so I can't really reveal that information right now. But the idea is that we'll be on all these exchange sites, and you'll be able to use those sites to, get paid in USDC or however you want. It kind of depends on the platform, how they go about dispersing those funds, but we'll be much more clear about that as we get closer to mainnet. Cool. So yeah, we're almost done with lesson one. Let's see if we can finish it out. Yeah, total bounty amount per round. So this is the total amount you're going to put in. We're going to take this from your wallet, right, when you make your task, and then the total bounty amount per round. Oh, we're going to also take the gas fees. So it'll be this plus gas. And then total bounty amount. if you're making a test task, don't worry about giving rewards right now. Just, make a task, test it out, get it going, and then start chatting with us in the Discord community, and we can get you access to more funds so that you can start giving bounties out. And yeah, if you want to get so I know I talked about this a bit too far back, but remember if you wanted to get those fancy requirement tags, Twitter username, those extensions is what we call them in the desktop node, then boom, all you need to do is go right here and you can add them in. There's a special syntax. The syntax is task variable, variable name. So all you have to do is copy this, go where? Here we go. Enter backspace. Oh, there. Boom. Just has to look like that. And you can make it Twitter, right? Username, for example. And you can give it a description. All right. Don't worry about these for now. And then boom. So to deploy your task, you're basically going to go through these steps. The yarn webpack. I suggest running Node version 20 and above, but we've checked it on Node version 18 and 19, and most of those tend to work, but just make sure that you're using an LTS version. But yeah, next you'll install the CLI suite. Now we're going to go over the CLI suite next week, but it's pretty easy to install. Just go here and read the docs. It's very, very straightforward, and it all happens in the commands prompt, and you just copy paste these. And if you're on Mac OS or if you're on Unix, then there's some slightly different steps. But we'll go over this next week just because we're running out of time today. And then, yeah, get the wallet, fund the wallet, launch the CLI. There's it's pretty straightforward how to go through the CLI. If you want to create a local repository or deploy a new task, you just use the arrow keys to move around and press enter. You just follow all the prompts there. This is a really well-tested tool, so I suggest you go through it. And what you'll get at the end is basically something that looks a little bit like this. It'll say generic task by someone. Mine's called the av test task for. Might not work. I hope it does for you. It might be a little bit broken just at the beginning, but over time, this will be your task. You'll be able to move forward with it. You'll be able to update it and yeah, do all the fun stuff. So I know we have some questions in chat. We're definitely going to get to those, but yeah, I guess I just want to say before we do that this is mostly lesson one. Again, I know we didn't go over the CLI. We'll do the CLI next week. But this is mostly lesson one for getting started with Koii, and that was actually the hard stuff. Like you've gotten through all of the complicated things. In my opinion, it's just getting it set up. Everything else from here is pretty straightforward, makes a lot of sense, and we have some really good SDKs for it. So yeah, okay, cool. So that's the end of EZSandbox.